hotel and she hadn't been listening? Sometimes she wasn't a good listener. She searched her emails and the texts from him once more. Nothing mentioning this New York client's name. Austin. She and Henry didn't know anyone in Austin. They'd talked about moving there once because it was growing so fast and there were lots of tech jobs. But Henry said there were so many freelancers it would be more competitive than New Orleans, which was just sort of emerging as a tech area, and there were more chances here to make an impact. In Austin, he was shot. Instead of looking for hotels in New York that sounded familiar, she entered in the search engine an awful phrase: Austin shooting. The results popped up, the most recent at the top. Police investigate double homicide. The related headlines: 2 men found shot to death at warehouse. Leading businessman killed. The stories were tied to local news stations. The victims had been found 2 days ago, in the early hours of Tuesday morning. He'd left early Sunday afternoon. Got an early Monday morning meeting. I'll text you, he'd said. And he had, that all was fine. The meetings were going well. But if these headlines were about him, he was dead, and someone else had texted her from Henry's phone. Nausea churned her gut. Her chest felt tight. This couldn't be. She clicked on the first result and watched the news video. The reporter was young and eager and said 2 bodies had been discovered in the warehouse by a homeless person who had found an unlocked door and entered. More details had emerged since Tuesday. One of the men was named Adam Zhang, an entrepreneur of some note who had launched multiple startup tech companies in the crowded Austin landscape. The other man had not been identified. Those active in the tech scene were expressing shock and dismay. More to come, the reporter said. The police were asking anyone who might have seen anything or knew anything to come forward. If Henry was the other victim, why would an anonymous person call her? Why tell her this? Had the call come from the murderer? Did the killer have Henry's phone? She started to shiver, her mind reeling in shock. She forced herself to take several deep breaths. No, don't just sit here. Do something. Be like Henry. Act when it seems impossible to act. A back corner of her mind took over. She logged on to an airline website and found a late-night flight to Houston, connecting onward to Austin. She could just make it if she hurried. Chapter 2. Nothing on this job had gone quite right. None of the normal protocols were followed. And now having his next target walking directly toward him in the airport was a sure sign to call off the hit. Mender caught his breath. Here she was, hurrying toward a gate in the New Orleans airport, just as he'd come off his flight from Austin. He stopped and looked at his phone, and she rushed past him, her carry-on bag nearly hitting his hip. Kirsten North was leaving town, just as he was arriving to take care of her. His mind literally went blank. He nearly laughed. He normally felt emotionless about his work, but this job was testing his nerves. He followed her to the gate where she waited. The flight that he'd taken from Austin would soon be reboarding, getting ready to head back via Houston. He'd just come off the plane. If he tried to buy a ticket to get back on, wouldn't that flag the system? Be suspicious? He could not be noticed. Why was she flying to Austin? Because she knew. How could she know? He watched her, but he was careful to flicker his gaze because a woman could sense a stare. She was shivering, anxious, like she'd gotten bad news. But that wasn't possible. Not yet. He saw there wasn't a change of crew. So if he got back on the plane, the flight attendants might notice him, might even jokingly comment. He had no idea how to trace her.